for watching ToneJunkie TV.
That little boy is a liar. I am HW, and thanks for watching ToneJunkie TV.
Freeze, stick 'em up. Freeze, stick 'em up.
Freeze. I'm armed. I've got a .45 caliber from J Rockett Audio. That's right. A .45 caliber from J Rockett Audio. Now, if you've ever played a JTM 45 or any of the amp-in-a-box pedals that attempt to replicate its sound, like this one, you may have noticed that they have a ton of bass. And that's typical. That's typical of the circuit, and it's typical of these pedals trying to replicate that sound. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that this pedal allows you to dump all of those bass frequencies right out. That is so useful because depending on what you're putting this thing into, you may have enough bass in that signal already that you don't want a ton added. You may want some grind and a little bit of girth, but having the ability to take that bass all the way out means you can leave as little or as much in as you want. To me, that's super important. The JHS Charlie Brown does not do that, and so for that reason, I gotta say that if you're after that JTM 45 sound, I may give the advantage to this guy here. Now I know what you're thinking. HW, isn't all that bass in all the classic recordings that we all love? It absolutely is. But what you're hearing is a combination of an amp into a microphone, into a mixing board, and there's probably some EQ on it. In fact, I would almost guarantee you there's a low-pass filter on most of the guitars we hear in 1960s classic recording. Because talk to any sound engineer, that's just something you do. You get the mud out of the mix, and you take away all that dumb, cloudy bass that the guitars are putting out anyway. So, what does the .45 caliber sound like? Well, to help me demonstrate today, we've got the world-famous blue Strat with matching headstock. That gives you more mids. We're also going through a Big Sky reverb, giving us a little bit of hall verb, and as always, going into a Kemper blackface style profile. It sounds like this. Okay, we've got the .45 caliber gain at about 1030 and bass cut back also about 1030. This thing's got a good amount of bass, and I got the treble up just a little bit just to make it sound stratty. .45 caliber. Responsive. I mean, that's as responsive as those as overdrives get. It really is. I'd say that there's a typical amount of compression that we accept with overdrive pedals, and anything that has less than that typical amount, we usually say amp-like. Immediately, it feels like an amp. I don't think that. I think that it just has not a lot of compression. It feels like an open pedal. This feels like a very, very open pedal. Does it feel like an amp? I don't have a JTM 45 here that I can test it against, but it feels very amp-like, I'll say that. More than the Charlie Brown from JHS. I'll just say that. That's a great sounding JTM 45 style box. Played both the V2 and V3 of that pedal. That has a wonderful compression. The Suze loves that thing. And that's like his main sound. Let's see, what else? I would say, I mean, compared to something like a Rat, this thing feels exactly like an amp. Compared to a Tube Screamer, that amount of compression, obviously that's super compressed. This is like, to me, OCD territory, getting up there in like Kingsley tube pedal kind of territory in terms of amp likeness. Let's roll it up. Let's see if it retains that amount of clarity. Enough talking, HW. You've been talking enough. Let's let the guitars do the talking. climber too, but this thing really does sound great. I mean, that's really enjoyable to play. Okay, let's push it past 12. I mean, I feel like we're getting probably the goods out of this thing, but let's see what happens. 3/4 of the way up. I mean, this is a Stratocaster, 3 single coil pickups. It's vintage voiced, but you know, Yngwie did it. Okay, hey, it feels like a Marshall, you know? I mean, that's... If I roll that bass up a little too, we're gonna get more out of it. That sounds killer. Just to let you know, this bass control does, it really gets stupid fast. I mean, I'll even put on the bridge. You can really, this thing will thump, and it does it in a really nice way, and it's really great. Obviously, let me just push that down a bit. And a bit, I'm not all the way. It's leaving us so little frequency range there that it really is letting us sculpt, I mean, basically all of the bass in this pedal. And that is really what separates it here from other JTM 45s. You get control over the low end. This is just a really cool box. Let's try here. Hey, let's just go crazy. Well, that sounds killer. Okay, here's what I would do. I would have this thing right here. It would be treated as classic rock royalty, and this would be the guitar I'd use probably. I mean, that has just such a pleasing level of saturation and brightness. I mean, it sounds Marshall-y. just kill it. Now, in recap, I can honestly tell you that this is probably my favorite JTM 45 sounding pedal. Truly special, very amp-like, and again, the ability to take out that bass and really tailor the low end to what you need is what's missing from so many JTM in a box style pedals, and plexi style pedals for that matter. If you're a pedal maker and you're watching this video, listen to HW. He knows tone. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. I am HW, and you have been watching ToneJunkie TV. Freeze! I got a 45.
Please subscribe.